Welcome to the Workplace Minute, powered by H3HR Advisors and sponsored by WorkHuman. Thanks for joining me for a quick update on what's important in the world of work. My name is Steve Boese. Today we're looking at how many of the newest entrants into the workforce are so stressed from work, they're seeking out places for some solitude and often a good cry. Let's dive in. A major survey of Gen Z professionals in the UK shows that nearly half of Britain's youngest office workers say workplace stress has brought them to tears. The research published in The Standard found that 47% of workers aged 21 to 25 have been reduced to tears by pressure at work, while 39% have seriously considered quitting within their first year in a new corporate job. And the findings come from the largest 2025 survey of young Brits in the workforce, commissioned by workforce engagement platform Kahoot and carried out by OnePoll. It questioned 2,000 UK office workers aged 21 to 25 who are recent university graduates. Generational tensions emerged as a key issue, with 44% saying they'd been criticized by older colleagues because of stereotypes linked to their age. And among those criticized, 47% said they were judged for being too passionate or too outspoken, 46% for using informal language or humor, 44% for setting healthy boundaries at work, and 42% for their clothing or their appearance. Now, despite being the first generation of fully digital native office workers, many said that they felt ignored or undervalued, and almost a quarter said that their opinions were not taken seriously or they were unsure whether their views even mattered. But despite not feeling valued, older workers turned to their Gen Z colleagues for help, especially with technology. The study found that reverse mentoring is increasingly common, with 57% of respondents saying they had taught their manager how to complete a basic digital task. Now, if all of this sounds familiar, you may remember a TikTok video of a young woman crying over her crazy 9-to-5 schedule, described as Gen Z girl finds out what a real job, which went viral back in 2023. The post racked up millions of views, and with many ridiculing the new college graduate. But as it turns out, most Gen Zers agree that traditional 9-to-5 jobs are, quote, soul-sucking. And rather than just crying about it on their lunch breaks, people are opting out entirely, picking up multiple income streams that flex around their schedule, quitting to become their own boss, or maybe even a full-time content creator, heading into a job in the trades, a path that's seeing a huge resurgence in popularity among the generation that watched many millennials and Gen Xers simply burn out at their desk jobs. But for those still stuck behind a desk, the reality is that Gen Z simply can't handle a real job. It's that the modern office has gotten much harder to survive. Return to office mandates have brought back more than just commuting. It turns out increased face time has also come with a side of backstabbing, finger pointing, credit stealing, and calculated sabotage. And one report concluded that workplace incivility is simply out of control. Over 208 million instances of office hostility occurred in American workplaces every single day in the first quarter of 2025 alone. And it's not just young entry-level staff who are guilty of toxic behavior. Bosses are at it too. Research from Resume Now found 61% of employees have been thrown under the bus at work, with nearly 1/3 saying they see it happen every week, and 1 in 4 workers say their managers set them up to fail. And to top it off, Gen Z workers are consistently told that they're the hardest generation to work with, that they don't know how to act or dress appropriately for an office, and they're about to be replaced by AI anyway. And it's really bubbling up. Gen Z is so miserable, they're dismantling Harvard's long-established flourishing measure. For the first time ever, instead of happiness hitting a peak while you're young and then declining until midlife, it's now depressingly flat until around age 50. So if you are one of these new Gen Z workers struggling to understand, adapt, and remain sane within the confines of corporate America, I can offer you a couple of suggestions. First, remember your first job is really just about learning and not proving. No one should expect you to have all the answers on day one, so you should ask questions, seek feedback, and view these challenges as opportunities to build your skills and your confidence. Next, think about relationships and not just your resume. If you can, find a mentor, try to get to know your manager, connect with your coworkers, building strong workplace relationships can make your day-to-day less stressful and help give you people to turn to if you do feel overwhelmed. Third, and most Gen Z are pretty good at this already, but make sure to take care of yourself before you burn out. It's okay to step away for a few minutes, get a walk, ask for help if you're struggling, go find that place to cry. Setting realistic boundaries are not signs of weakness. They're part of building a sustainable long-term career. And finally, remember that resilience is built over the long haul. Nearly all of us experienced workers have felt overwhelmed at times in our careers. And the people who get through it and eventually thrive aren't the ones who never face a struggle, but they're the ones who can try to keep learning, keep asking for help, and keep showing up. And for employers, this is a reminder that supporting early career employees isn't just good for them and their well-being, but it's also good for your business. The next generation of leaders is learning how to work right now, and the organizations that invest in helping them succeed will be the ones that benefit for years to come. That's it for the show today. A big thank you to WorkHuman for supporting the Workplace Minute. Be sure to subscribe to the HR Happy Hour Network on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Boese, and this has been the Workplace Minute from H3 HR Advisors.